Now we move on to our second My Story session. I welcome Ms. Vinitha Joseph, founder and CEO of Bluepurple and Senior Technology Fellow at Kerala Startup Mission. She is a leader and a life coach with deep expertise in organizational development, emotional intelligence, and leadership transformations. Next, I invite Jabir Karat, the founder and CEO of Greenworms, a circular startup creation large-scale social and environmental impact by building a woman-led workforce to combat ocean plastics and poverty. Sir, I welcome you, sir. Each panelist will have 7 minutes each, and then we'll move on to a more lively interactive session.
A story. I said, yeah, that's true. Everyone has a story. And I've been since then trying to decode what is my story. I've still not figured it out. But I think there's one word which comes to my mind when I think about story is pivots, right? And I think Anuja was talking about pivot. My story probably, which is a continuing journey right now, is an integration of what has happened in my life, in my personal life, which has shaped my career, which has shaped my choices, and vice versa. So it has never been that I chose entrepreneurship one way and then I chose my life a different way. It has always been together. It's been like one journey together. And I'm very proud to say that it has made me more resilient and made me more aware that whether we win our journey or no, I do not know. But in the whole idea of entrepreneurship, it touches many lives. And I guess that is probably the core reason why I continue to be an entrepreneur. Money is very important for all of us. There were quite questions about the funding and everything of that aspect. And I always hear from, irrespective of whichever generation you are from, that money, how do you make money? And I went behind money in the beginning of my corporate career. But over a period of time, I realized that that is not all what serves me. And then I moved into a space which is more of mental health, more of, I would say, that's when they introduced the emotional intelligence space. You know, I kind of pivoted to the whole idea of emotional intelligence for entrepreneurs. So I work with a lot of failed entrepreneurs. I coach them. I also work with the ecosystem in terms of building emotional intelligence in entrepreneurship. So when you all work for a B2B or a B2C, my B2C is usually B to an entrepreneur, B to somebody who is leading the organizations, and also someone probably who is at a CXO level, and that is what I do. In Kerala Startup Mission, what I do is build the ecosystem for Kerala and for Palakkad and Thrissur. Because sadly, we don't have a lot of focus there in Palakkad, Thrissur when it comes to startups. We are trying to build that up right now with Sudhir is here, you know, and that's why much mention about me from Rahul, because we work closely. So the idea of story together for me when I put is something which makes me smile all the time, which makes me very joyful all the time, because I get to meet so many people, so many inspiring souls, so many people like Ramesh, like Anuja, like good friend of mine, Sudhir sir, my Rahul, Amit, many of them who have come here, Nitin, who has come from Palakkad, right? So typically, where it stops for me is when I think that I have not accomplished anything. And I think that's my journey. I still feel that I have not accomplished anything. I probably would accomplish something maybe in the near future. I don't know whenever that is. But whenever that happens, probably I'll be able to impact multiple more people than what I'm doing today. So in a nutshell, I don't know what I just said, but whatever came to my heart is what I just spoke. And what I think is the simplest way of living probably is just to be present and be happy in whatever space you are. You be an entrepreneur, you be a corporateer, you be a farmer, it doesn't matter who you are, Just be in the space you are and enjoy the journey. And I guess the journey really matters a lot. It matters a lot, and it defines what you choose in your life. And what you choose is what you are, right? If you choose something which is more meaningful, your life is meaningful, you're doing something meaningful. If you're not choosing something which is meaningful, that is again a choice you've made, and that defines how meaningful you are leading your life. So it is important the choices you make, it will define who you are, and I guess that is what has happened to me. And that's my little story, and I would stop here. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Yeah. See, I was born in a very small village in northern part of Kerala, and parents are not formally educated. I did my all schooling in local language. So I ended up in Delhi for my higher graduation. So technically, I have not been to any business schools, I have not been to any engineering or technical schools. I'm an Indian history postgraduate, and so that's my formal education. Post college, I happened to work in Mumbai, especially Mumbai government schools. I was a Gandhi fellow, in which we used to work with kids in slums, Bombay schools. So in which I was exposed to most of the hard realities of the country. So I decided I'll do something in development sector. I was also exposed to the whole idea of social entrepreneurship. So I call myself as a social entrepreneur, So that's how do we try to solve a social problems with a business model around it, So I was more a social guy rather than a business guy specifically, but situation has been forced to learn me to balance sheets and all later. So I started working with garbage, So I call myself as a garbologist, and I teach trashnomics. So that's a general the denomination I give to myself. So I worked as a waste collector, rack picker in Coimbatore cities for around 8 months in 2014. I used to earn around 150 rupees in a day and goes to each individual houses every day morning and collect trash and segregate it. So that's when I first encountered even maybe a sanitary napkin in my life, because the fellow women who works with waste with me says, no, Jabir, don't touch that material. So I wanted to understand waste from the scratch, how it is being collected, transported and all. So why waste specifically? When I did my what to do for the rest of my life, I did a bit of research and travel. A couple of things. It has to be a socially a development sector. It has to have some social impact. And second, it has to have a futuristic something futuristic, a career for me. As a history student, I don't see much of a hope over there. And something futuristic career. So this waste comes in, it has an environmental impact, it has a social impact, because there are millions of people who still scavenge through waste, formally, mostly in the informal sector. And as a career, this is being managed by the inefficient government now. 95% of the waste in the country is being managed by inefficient governments. And hardly over this 87% of the waste still ends up in the open landfills and all. So, generally, I felt, there is no universities and colleges. It's a dirty subjects, However you paid well, if it's working the waste, it's not a fancy word, You're a teacher, you're a doctor. I mean, there are all other sectors, though it's not paid well. Waste is little, it's a dirty stuff. So a lot of white collar, so-called educated people don't get into this sector. So since I come from a humble background, I didn't mind dirtying my hands to do something good for purposes. And so I see that's a good a future, career perspective. That's how I got into this space. It was in 2014 actually. So 11 years I've been, working with the waste in and around. Initial it was a lot of failures in terms of technically it was working. I was able to collect waste and process it, but financially nothing was working. No business plan, no vendors, no startup missions, nothing. And so initial co-founders left. We shut down the operations. I started consulting in the school as whatever I learned from Mumbai. Started second facilities, which people made to me shut down. People said, നമ്മളെ നാട്ടിലെ വേസ്റ്റ് പരിപാടിയൊന്നും വേണ്ട, എൻ്റെ വീടിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് നോട്ട് ഇൻ മൈ ബാക്ക് യാർഡ്. യു ആർ ഡൂയിങ് എ ഗുഡ് തിങ്സ് ബട്ട് ഇൻ നോട്ട് മൈ neighborhoods. So people made me to shut down my second facility. So like first 2-3 years were a lot of utter struggles, even for my bread and butter. And first year it was around, I did multiple things, I mean, it's waste. What I started with the waste, today what I do, still I work in waste. The whole business model has completely evolved. And for example, I used to collect cow urines from veterinary universities in Wayanad and make biopesticides and fertilizers. I used to collect eggshells and remove the white membrane insides and powder it, shred it along with, then make some products out of it, mainly for sell to horticulture. I used to collect peels, like citric peels, and make some organic washing powder. I used to sell thread composting bins and biogas plants and various other stuff, and n number of things within waste. And so that's how the kind of journey has started. So I the first 2-3 years revenue was around 15 lakhs per year. That's what I used to collect, around 500 kg in a day. That's the kind of volumes we do. And so what we do now currently, so we manage 300,000 metric ton, around 300 metric tons of waste per day, today. And we employ 850 people, we employ 850 people. And we manage 40% of waste which is being collected in Kerala now. And all the waste, 40% of waste is being managed by us. And we built around 2.5 lakh square feet waste management infrastructure which was non-existent in Kerala. And we serviced around 2.5 million households, the waste in Kerala now. Other than Kerala, we also operate in Andaman Islands. We manage around 50% of Andaman's waste, Lakshadweep waste. We're also expanding to Tamil Nadu and other states just recently. So roughly you can say we do a annual business of 100 crore now. 100 crore per year, that's the size of the business as an organization we do. And we kind of develop a lot of interesting solutions, we are just not we sit in a very extreme part of India. We export around 30% of our service. Waste we are not exporting, we are exporting a service called plastic credits. Like carbon credits, we export plastic credits. We export to US, Europe markets and US markets. And we come up with a lot of alternative fuel from refuse, we produce that. We set up the first textile recycling facility in Kerala. We're going to set up the first shoes recycling facility in India. So I mean, the business model we have only 1-2 revenue streams. Now we have around 7 to 8 revenue streams. And so we just keep evolving and innovating how waste can be, how waste can be, we manage only we don't touch with any scrap dealers and all. We don't manage anything them. If nobody needs a waste, which is a problem, which is ending up in landfill. After the Brahmapuram incidents, we manage 50% of Cochin waste now after the Brahmapuram incidents. So technically we work with materials which has no solutions or problems, which is not difficult to recycle, or that's the kind of, maybe we even did a projects with, we exported beer glass waste to Sweden. So I mean, we collect garbage on the grounds, but we have different very innovative business model around it. We just still keep innovating how we can make it as a financially viable, sustainable business model around it. So initially it was a struggle bit of to raise capital and all. We recently also got some institutional funding, mostly from US-based entities. And we raise capital from patient impact capitals, or social impact investors, or climate capitals and all, very, very unique to the sector. And one of the things which we, the kind of people we employ is pretty bad. I mean, people who used to go for most of my workers, they used to get only 100 working days in a year, 300 rupees in a day. I pay them, double what they earn, and I give them 3x in terms of 300 minimum working days in a year. I mean, people can even work on Sundays on an overtime basis. So in the recent survey, one of the impact investor has said, 9 out of 10 people in the jobs who I seek, they do not have a better alternative than green worms, you know. I mean, still, that's still slightly shocking for me also. 9 out of 10 people do not have a better job than us. Means the kind of people we employees and we work on the ground, especially, these are pretty poor. They don't have a better job. I can find a better jobs, and the people who works for us, they do not have a better jobs. So the kind of infrastructure we built, the whole philosophy of the waste is, I mean, we manage it in a super clean, hygienic, safety, in a very, you don't feel it's, we even do our Onam celebration and dining within our waste management plant. And, you know, I mean, that's the kind of, we kind of change the whole perception how waste can be collected, processed, and transported, etc. So that's I see as an achievement. And yeah, still, it's a pretty big issues, you know. In my assessments, only I said 40% of waste we manage, but hardly 35% of waste is only collected in Kerala. The rest of 65% waste still ends up in environments in various ways. So it's a very bad, you know, whenever, during my childhood, when I go for rivers, it was much more pristine and clean. I come from, you know, Adivaram, it's a very hill station. But today I see all diapers and napkins and anything around, you can't go to even you know. So something, you know, other than the business, what we do, it's something, the whole, what is that you know, living behind, how do you make it something better? So that keeps me motivating, and yeah, things are going well. Thanks for the opportunity, yeah.
The forum is now open for questions, if you have a question.
Jabir, have multiple questions. Most of the LSGDs are finding it difficult to handle their waste. Have you ever discussed about tying up with LSGDs across the state?
All our, as I said, Cochin, you know, we don't work directly now. Initially, you know, we take up ad hoc projects and we do it by ourselves. In 2020 onwards, the government has started with this Kudumbashree mission and all those stuff. So we don't do the direct waste collection now from households. So we have we have tie-up with Cochin corporations, Trivandrum corporation. So all the 220 local bodies in Kerala. So we have formal contracts and agreements. So I said I collected from 200 to 2.2 million households. These are Kudumbashree women only collecting it. Processing, I am doing it. You know, they used to collect it, maybe they store it, but the end of the destination is actually, you know, it's reaching in my factory. So the processing part. So it's all. I do collection directly from commercial establishments like Astra Medicities, you know, I mean, but not biomedical waste, other waste. So we manage from industries and bigger commercial establishments and all directly, which is around 10,000 commercial establishments in the state. The rest is all formal contracts with the local bodies. I'll tell you. I'm not even utilizing 60% of my capacities now. I'm not getting waste.
Could you repeat that capacity part? What are you using?
For example, my planned capacities are I can process 500 tons per day. I am only getting 300 tons in a day. Yeah. And so it's a very different problem. It's a demand and supply. Means I see on the other hand, you know, there is waste is getting uncollected. On the other hand, I am not getting waste. Yes. So I'm working with people, governments very closely and all. After Brahmapuram, we see some changes in the whole way, attitudes and things and all. But I'll tell you, you know, a per kg, we now have a per capita waste generation statistics. And when we did and we have on internal studies and there's a whole mismatch of data with what the government says and what the realities are there. We're trying to influence governments now because of, now we are also a strong player in the state. They started listening us, but still there is a big gap.
Your plant is based in Kannur, is it?
No, we have multiple plants. We are on 13 plants in Kerala, 5 big plants and others 7 small plants. So Kannur plant is only the processing. One grade it's processing over there. It needs washing and certain higher grade formulations of it. And we have 2 plants in Cochin. Cochin plant, it's completely, you know, only 1 plant is occupied. The rest of plant is still 90% is unutilized. So we have 2 plants in Cochin, 1 in Kasaragod. Yeah, one in Malappuram, one in Calicut. And we are ready to put up more plans also. We are not getting waste.
Is transporting waste a problem?
Nothing. It's not a technical issue.
It's
I
not a-
mean, initially it was for me, yeah. It's a governance issue, I would say. It's a governance issues, and people don't diagnose the problem also. What is the problem, right? And so we are trying because it's muchly a government stuff now. Most of the things, the decisions, policies, and enforcements, and various ways. And I see a strong surge. For example, I'll tell you, last financial year we collected 60,000 metric tons. This year we'll be collecting around 80,000. Before that, we did collect 33,000 metric tons. So Brahmapuram has Cochin. We were knocking last 7-8 years. We went to Cochin Corporation, knock their doors. Let's work. Let's not send waste to land Brahmapuram. Nobody was even ready to listen. Brahmapuram happened. Next time we got a call. Okay, let's do something. So that's actually a milestone in our watershed events in Kerala for our organization. It's now transportation. We figured it out. I mean, the kind of efficiency how we started transporting waste in a truckload, how much we can load. And now we do around 6x of the volumes. I mean, there were some bottlenecks. Technically, it's not a problem. I can, any kind of waste, any kind of volumes in a state like Kerala, it's not a big deal.
Probably TiE is going to come up with a Clean Kochi initiative shortly, and we can tie up.
Sure, yeah.
I can't believe that you said there's no waste in Kochi. I am from Kochi, so. But why don't you tie up with private entities like, the communities and other than the government? Because you're specifically mentioning, again, government.
We have legal issues.
Oh.
If I go and work with apartments, the waste collecting Kudumbashri will protest.
Okay.
And I am not authorized to collect directly.
So this is an issue which you are facing.
I'm still working in the governments. So I see, we are not authorized to collect waste directly from households and commercial establishments. Commercial establishments also in Cochin, I was given a free hands in few divisions of the Cochin city. I cannot go to Trikakara, I can't go to Kalamasheri and other places. So I'm still, I'm not even authorized to collect it. I get hundreds and thousands of calls. I'm still working with the government, why can't you? So there are a lot of things. But government is, the attitude is changing from them, but it's very slow. We are based in Calicut, actually. Our headquarters are in Calicut. And we manage 50% of the whole Calicut Kozhikode districts. We manage 50% of Wayanad districts. Malappuram districts. Northern Kerala, it's much more, we have a good, we are able, because local government takes decisions, right? Southern Kerala, it's pretty bad, in terms of, in Northern Kerala, we collect around 8 kg of waste per households per month. In South Kerala is 1 kg of waste per month per households. It's not that waste is not generating. Somehow, it's not being collected. No. So the volume I'm talking only about non-biodegradable waste. Only non-biodegradable waste. So bio-waste, again, government has a different strategy, household composting. We used to manage everything in the beginning. Now we kind of focused on all kinds of non-biodegradable, all kinds of households, plastics, paper, glass, foodware, textiles, napkin, diapers, broken glasses, everything. Electronic is we call it as a urban, mines. It's the most precious material, electronic waste.
I have a question to Vinitha. Don't tell me you're not accomplished. Because most of us, like Rahul was mentioning, at a point of phase where whatever accomplished people, as you say, many of us had connected to you whenever we were going through that hustle, or maybe whenever we were celebrating our thing also, but still we were going through hustles of like, should we pivot, should we do this, is this okay? Sometimes we are, I believe entrepreneurs are very self-doubting people. You agree, right? So my specific question to you is like, entrepreneurs go through a lot of mental struggles, which is not as easy as however powerful they are, however good they are, however innovative, strategic, any blah blah any keyword you use. You being a personal coach, multiple times you've been understanding people. I think you're more a people's person. So on a larger scale, how do you think that, because many of them stop in between because only 0.01% cut through. I personally know it. So what can we do so that something can be done on this part, collaborated with every ecosystem, whether it is TiE or KSUM or government or whatever? How do you think that we can address this issue, maybe on a larger scale?
Thank you for that question. It's a very dry subject mostly. Only when it hits you that you know the importance of it. Till then, you are evading that part, right? So I'll go with a story why I moved into this whole space. I started a consulting company. My company's name is Bluepurple Consulting. And I work there predominantly in terms of with corporates, many big corporates. I have clients like Amazon, Deloitte, who I work with, Electronic Arts, multiple big clients I work with. What happened there is whenever I go there, a lot of times I've seen that people go through the change management at leadership level, at any level for that matter. They have an issue in understanding what change is for themselves, because change is very personal usually. What I go through as a change may not be what you go through as a change, or anyone in this room goes through as a change. When you map that back to entrepreneurship, the degree at which the change you go through is actually enormous and phenomenal. I always say that entrepreneurship is a dance of emotions. If you really think about it, right? From the day you go, like the story you said, you start with, you're so attached to your product or idea, you actually know whether you fail it. When you were talking about failure stories, right? Every time you go through a failure, something sets back in you, thinking that, okay, you kind of think whether, am I really cut out for this? Should I go through this? And that is why only 3 to 5% of entrepreneurs are really successful. And that's a real story. Right? And what is so happening to the rest of the entrepreneurs, especially when we are focused in, let's say, even Kerala Startup Mission or TiE or any of these organizations, right? We are nurturing a lot of startups, by which we are also nurturing a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and by which we are also impacting the entrepreneur and the entrepreneur's social ecosystem, which can be family, which can be the living circumstances you are in, and the society. So what is really happening to, let's say, the 95% of startups which is really not cutting through? Are we even focusing on that, let's say, even 20% of the startup entrepreneurs who are somewhere faded away? None of them come and sit here. Maybe none of them is also in this room. But it is a real story, right? And that is when I started really thinking about, okay, let's talk about coaching. Coaching is a very evolved way of working right now. Many of them, when I came back to Palakkad and set up my shop as a coach, a lot of them asked me, what is coaching? Is it like entrance coaching? I have one client sitting here with me. Is it entrance coaching? And I had to take them to the entire idea of how exactly coaching works. And sadly, coaching is probably the most abused word today. It is not. It is marketed in very different way. Every other person is a coach in this whole world, right? Some business coach, life coach. And coaching is nothing where you have a 3-hour Udemy certificate making you like a coach, and then you can call yourself a coach. Coach, someone goes through a grill of, like I have around 3,500 hours of coaching. Individual coaching, team coaching, and I do at a very granular level in terms of how you work through it. Now, why I'm saying this is, at entrepreneurship level, it is a very sad story that these 92% or 95%, whatever that percent is, even if it is 1%, that person is not addressed, because we've probably left a person broken, we've probably left a family broken, we've probably left us entire society broken. And who is going to take responsibility? When there is a failure, the responsibility is yours. When there is a success, we will all celebrate it together. right? And I guess it is also time for us as an ecosystem to look at these failures also as part of us. Very important. And not just failures, when they become success, it gets glorified. And that's what we see most often. Unless you become successful, your failure is never glorified. But if you really look at it, 98% are failures. And what are those failures happening, right? So, and I remember when I started working with Startup Mission as a mentor a few years back, I was telling, okay, you have a mentor for strategy, you have a mentor for HR, you have a mentor for talent, you have a mentor for finance, you have a mentor for corporate, whatever that is, right? But then where is a mentor for that entrepreneur who is really trying to build something? And that entrepreneur who is in the hustle and bustle of entrepreneurship, but over a period of time, something is going to hit that person at some point in time. And where would that person be left? അപ്പം നമ്മൾ അങ്ങനെ സംസാരിച്ചാണ് ഐ തിങ്ക് അടിമാലത്തുറയിലെ ഹഡിൽ ഗ്ലോബലിൻ്റെ സമയത്ത് അനൂപ് പിക്ഡ് അപ്പ് ദ ടോപ്പിക് ഓഫ് മെൻ്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് ഫോർ ഓൺടർപ്രണേഴ്സ്. And I guess we started really focusing on, even in last time when we had our innovation festival in Kochi, one of the major components we discussed about was how do we address mental health of entrepreneurs. It's extremely important. I mean, as much as we are pushing it under the carpet, it is going to come back and hit us very, very badly at some point in time. The story why I started this, I'll go back to it again, is that I was one of member of a board of an edtech company many years back. And this person was from BITS Pilani. The person was a 3-time entrepreneur, 2 times failed, 3rd time was the entrepreneur. We were 4 of us on the board, and I was helping him in terms of building the product and the HR strategy in terms of how do you connect campus to people. This person was so passionate about the product, and the product was really, really good. What really happened was bad financial strategy, which we all go through, right? Bad financial strategy where you don't know where to take money from, where to put the money in. And the person ended up technically pawning, technically selling, technically doing everything with respect to his family's money, his own money, everything is gone. And whatever we invested is also gone. And then every time we used to tell him, can we try and get an investor? He'll say, no, little more time for us to get there, little more time. And then when we really started working to get an investor, time was already late. And there were mentors all around telling him to do different things, but then he was totally, I would say, clouded in terms of, where do I go, how do I stand, and what do I do, because you're so obsessed with the product you're building. And I was in Palakkad. My co-founder, this person was in Trivandrum, another person was in Alleppey, and one person was in Chennai. Suddenly one day, I couldn't reach this person. I was not able to reach him. I kept calling him multiple times, I couldn't reach him. And then I told somebody in Trivandrum to go and check his house in terms of what has really happened. He went to his house, and when the house was, he had a wife and 2 children, and they were actually sent home. We knew that. And we tried to break open his room. We saw that he was sitting in a corner, actually, trying to decide what to do with himself. And at the right time when my friend entered is when we knew that he was not deciding something good for himself. He was writing a letter in keeping as to he wants to just give up on everything because of him. So guilt, self-doubt, family leaving him, money gone, lot of intelligence, wonderful product, great people who can support with. He was even striking, I think, a deal with IIT. It was all close. But when you are just there, you tend to give up because you've gone through enough of that stress. So I think one of the reasons also is that the most times we speak a lot about mental health nowadays, but then we don't speak enough. We don't speak enough in the community where it is needed. It is all there in Instagram, it's all there in Reels, everyone knows everything now, it's beautifully said everywhere. Then technically we still don't address the elephant in the room, which means that if you are an entrepreneur, you are responsible not only just for yourself, you're responsible for multiple other people. Even the product or the service you're building has an impact based on how your mental health actually displays there. You're an angry person, your product will show that you are like that. Now, I'm not showing anger is bad, but do you know how to channelize your anger? Do you even know how to use anger to build something beautiful? That is the support we are talking about, right? So how do you even use those emotions to actually get in there? Now, yes, to build an ecosystem of mental health is absolutely important. That is also one reason why I'm at Startup Mission today. We do speak about it. We are talking about it in terms of, okay, these 90%, 92% left out, not being successful, need attention. What can we do there? Can we encourage them to reach out to somebody? Many of the mentors I know who are here with Startup Mission, a lot of them, your people just come there and ask, what can I do? I don't see, they may have a problem with the product, they may have a problem with the brand, they may have a problem with talent, but technically all the problem is actually with the person. And they hardly realize it. Yeah, so I guess that, I don't know if I answered, but thanks for asking.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinitha. Because you were mentioning about the ecosystem in Thrissur and Palakkad is weak. No, I don't think so. Okay. Anyway, we are there. Okay. And there are many clients also for you because many of my startups are discussing with you also. So with your more than 22 years of corporate capacity or experience, and now as CEO of this Bluepurple, you are a coach for many startups. So what are the many reasons will be there? Could you figure out some of the major issues which you have? Of course, you cannot deal everything, but still, have you tried to figure out what is the major reason for is it their mental or emotional balance, or what is the major reason for this one? But just now you concluded that it's mainly because of their personal thing only the failure is happening. But have you segregated this one, the major issues, whether it is because related to family or whether it is related to their own emotional balance, and how can we improve it?
Thank you for asking. I come to your I think, Kabu many times. I go take class, interestingly, with Agricultural University Incubator on emotional intelligence, and he's been very, very welcoming for me to do a session there. So I think all of us have our own trauma, all of us have our own issues. Some we address, some we do not address. There are quite a few conversations around it right now. But I have seen one thing, when it comes to entrepreneurship, typically the earlier panel, I think the immediate response Ramesh gave was, I'm a Gen Z, and then you just not reached there. So these kind of comparisons do put a lot of pressure on us. That's one, yeah. The second, what I would say is, world is probably moving towards a lot of chaos. It is no more VUCA, it is actually Bani. And it is more in terms of, we do not know what is going to happen to us next. And so much as it is that it has become unpredictable, I think we ourselves are also very unpredictable right now. Right? The emotions are always charged up. We do not know. And there is constant competition and prove to you got to constantly prove yourselves to somebody. And there is a rush for that. And a typical trend I have seen is that whenever people come to me for coaching, and in generally I would say that they tend to give up too fast. Some of them or most of them tend to give up too fast. Not on the product or the service they are building, but on themselves. Right? And the reason is personal for many of them. But when I say they tend to give up fast, what they do is they tend to give up themselves very fast because they start putting up a lot of mask. So they become someone who they are not over a period of time. I have to constantly wear this mask 1, mask 2. I go to TiEcon, I have a mask 1. I go to KSUM Startup Mission, I have a mask 2. I go to my business, I have a mask 3. So over a period of time, you get confused which mask you have to wear, right? I don't know. So these masks keep revealing different aspects of yours, not only to people around you, but also to your own self. How many of us really, in this room, let me ask, how many of us really do walk the talk? Walk the talk. Which means that ഞാൻ മനസ്സിൽ എന്താണോ ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് അതാണ് പറയുന്നതാണ് ഞാൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. 100% ചെയ്യുന്നവരാരും ഉണ്ടോ? പറ്റില്ല. 90%, 50%, 20%. കൺസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ആയിട്ട് കേട്ടോ, എപ്പോഴും ആണ് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്, കൺസിസ്റ്റൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട്, വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൾട്ട്, റൈറ്റ്? അപ്പം അത് നമ്മളങ്ങനെ ഒരു ബിൽട്ടാണ്. അതായത് ഞാൻ അനുജടുത്ത് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും, സുധീർ സാറിനോട് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും, വേറെ വല്ലവരോട് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും. ഈ കോൺസ്റ്റൻറ്റ് മാസ്ക് ഇട്ടിട്ട്, അത് ഓൺട്രപ്രനേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എന്താ പറ്റണമെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ കുറേ പേർക്ക് എന്തൊക്കെയോ ആവണം. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കുറേ സ്റ്റോറീസ് വരുമ്പം ഞാൻ ഓപ്പൺ ആയിട്ട് പറയുകയാണ്, ഇവിടെ കുറേ സ്റ്റോറീസ് വന്നു, എനിക്കൊരു രമീസ് ആവണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു അനുജ ആവണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു രാഹുലിനെ ആവണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ജബീർ ആവണം, ആരെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ആവണം എനിക്ക്. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ആരാന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല, എനിക്കെന്താണ് കേപ്പബിലിറ്റി എന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല. അപ്പം ഞാൻ മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ കേപ്പബിലിറ്റി കണ്ട് ആ കേപ്പബിലിറ്റിയാണ് ഞാനെന്നും കരുതിയാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ലൈക്ക് വെയറിങ് എ ഡ്രസ്, റൈറ്റ്? Do I wear a dress which suits me, or do I wear a dress which one model is wearing on the ramp and I think that will suit me? Typically, that is what is going on. I guess the more and more startup ecosystem is competing with each other to build many startups and build things. It is also important for us to be mindful to know whether we are really cut out to be there or not. Not all of us are going to be entrepreneurs. And if all become entrepreneur, who's going to work for us? It's a very simple question. But the idea is also that all of us cannot be entrepreneurs. And the early we realize we are not cut out of it, be respectful about it and just exit. But if you're really good at it, get it validated that I'm really good at it. How do you get validated? Think, am I getting really overwhelmed and stressed with what is going on? Because that is a data for you to really ponder on and understand whether I should process this or just leave it. I'm under constant stress of building this journey or going through this journey. Is it really worth it? Is a good question to ask. Just pause and ask that question at whatever age you are in. Doesn't matter. That may be one of the reasons why you came from Australia and you are in Thrissur probably, right? Am I right? So, yes. Did I answer you?
Yes.
Thank you.
To Jabir, you are doing a wonderful job, okay? And Sudhir, heading Agribusiness Incubation Center of Kerala Agriculture University, because to you, I'm new, okay? But I can't understand why you're not getting the non-biodegradable waste. Because why don't you have a tie-up with, because of course Damodar already told that one, that's why I'm not insisting. But have you tried with the head of this, for example, Calicut means the mayor, or have you done a discussion with them directly, or is it a political issue, which you cannot reveal here?
I think no,
No, if it is,
Hello?
if it is, you can't reveal, you
ഇല്ല
don't have to.
ഇല്ല ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഡെയിലി ഒരു മാസം 1000 ഒരു മാസമാ 10,000 കിലോ ചെയ്യുന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്ന് 1 ലക്ഷം ഒരു ദിവസം നല്ലൊരു 6 ലക്ഷം കിലോ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് നമ്മൾ. അപ്പോൾ ഇൻക്രിമെൻ്റൽ ചേഞ്ചസ് ഉണ്ട്. ആസ് എ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് എന്ന ലെവലിൽ ഐ എം നോട്ട്, ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിനെ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യില്ല, ബ്ലെയിം ചെയ്യില്ല. ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ഭാഗത്ത് അവർ എഫേർട്ട് എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ദർ ഇസ് എ സിസ്റ്റമിക് പ്രോബ്ലംസ്. അപ്പോൾ എന്നെ പ്രോബ്ലം ചെയ്ത ആളുകൾക്ക് സിസ്റ്റമിക് പ്രോബ്ലം മനസ്സിലാവുന്നില്ല. ഓക്കെ, മീൻസ് വാട്ട്സ് എ ഗ്യാപ്പ് എന്നുള്ള ഡയഗ്നോസിസ് എന്നല്ല. സോ അവർ സർട്ടൻ ആളുകൾ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവിൽ എവറിത്തിങ് ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ഗുഡ്. ഓക്കെ, ദേ ആർ നോട്ട് എവിഡൻസ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഡിസിഷൻ മേക്കിംഗ് അല്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഡാറ്റാ ബേസ്ഡ് അല്ല ഒരു കാര്യങ്ങളും ഇവിടെ. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൾ കഹാനി, സ്റ്റോറിയാണല്ല, കഥകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ പറയാമെന്നല്ല. ആരും നമ്പേഴ്സ് ആരും സംസാരിക്കാറില്ല. ദാറ്റ്സ് അനദർ ഇഷ്യൂ, എസ്പെഷ്യലി വിത്ത് ഗവൺമെൻറ് പീപ്പിൾ. സോ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഒരിക്കലും കുറ്റം പറയില്ല. ലാസ്റ്റ് കപ്പിൾ ഓഫ് ഇയേഴ്സ് നല്ലൊരു ഗ്രേറ്റ് ഇനീഷ്യേറ്റീവ് നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആസ് എ നല്ല എന്തുണ്ട് പ്രോഗ്രസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് ദാറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ആഡിക്വേറ്റ്, ദാറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ഇനഫ്. ഇപ്പം എന്നെ സമയത്തോളം വേസ്റ്റ് കിട്ടാതെ ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് എ പ്രോബ്ലം. മൊത്തം കേരളത്തിൽ വേസ്റ്റ് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിൻ്റെ 2 times ആണ് ചെന്നൈ സിറ്റി മാത്രം വേസ്റ്റ് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഐ ആം ഗെറ്റിംഗ് കോൾസ് ഫ്രം ചെന്നൈ, ഐ ആം ഗെറ്റിംഗ് കോൾസ് ഫ്രം ഒഡീഷ, ഐ ആം ഗെറ്റിംഗ് കോൾസ് ഫ്രം വെസ്റ്റ് ബംഗാൾ. I mean, I don't have any issues. Maybe we started, contextually ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. സോ ഐ മീറ്റ് ഈവൻ ദ മിനിസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ലെവൽ, ഓൾ IAS ഓഫീസേഴ്സ് ലെവൽ. കേരളത്തിൽ ഒരു 4-5 ടോപ്പ് 3 വേസ്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് ആരെങ്കിലും സംസാരിക്കുമ്പം വൺ ഓഫ് ദ നെയിംസ് വിൽ കംസ് ലൈക്ക് അസ്. അപ്പോൾ നോസ് ഡിസിഷൻ മേക്കേഴ്സിന് വെദർ ഇറ്റ്സ് എ മേയർ, ഡിസ്ട്രിക്ട്സ്, എവരിബഡി നോസ് അബൌട്ട് അസ്. And we are trying to make them understand what's the systemic gap, right? And if we can solve that, then it's a huge. So I would appreciate governments in the way, because comparing other states, right? Kerala is much better. ബിക്കോസ് ദർ ആർ ടു ആസ്പെക്ട്സ്. കേരളത്തിൽ വേസ്റ്റ് കളക്ഷൻ തന്നെ നടക്കുന്നില്ല. ഓക്കെ, എൻ്റെ ആസ്പെക്ട്സിൽ. അതർ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സിൽ വേസ്റ്റ് കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് മറ്റൊരു സ്ഥലത്ത് എന്താണ് ഡംപ് ചെയ്യുക ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ചെന്നൈയിൽ 250 ഹെക്ടേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ലാൻഡ് ഫില്ലാണ്. 250 ഏക്കറയാണ് അവിടെ വേസ്റ്റ് ഡംപ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി മാത്രം എന്ത് ചെയ്തത് അവിടെ ഉള്ളത്. 6500 ടണ്ണ് വേസ്റ്റാണ് പെർ ഡേ അവിടെ വേസ്റ്റ് റേറ്റ്. 90% പോകുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഓപ്പൺ ലാൻഡ് ഫില്ലിലേക്കാണ്. അപ്പോൾ കേരളത്തിൽ വേസ്റ്റ് കളക്ഷൻ്റെ പ്രശ്നമാണ്. മറ്റു സ്ഥലത്ത് ഇത് ഷിഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാണ് പ്രോബ്ലം, ഫ്രം വൺ പ്ലേസ് ടു അനദർ പ്ലേസ്. We work very closely with the local bodies, district bodies, state governments also. Recently, last 2-3 years, even the minister level also. We are trying our best.
All the best.
അതിനൊരു ഇഷ്യൂ ഇല്ലേ? ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഒരു ലെവലിലാണെങ്കിലും you don't get, there are different agencies, they don't work in tandem.
I'll not blame everyone. I'll not blame only government.
Not government.
Okay, ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് നമ്മൾ it's a combination of multiple things, right? You are conducting this event, right? I don't know whether the organizers know where is this waste in this event is ending up. ഇത് മേ ബി തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലോ കർണാടകയിലോ ഇത് ഇവിടുന്ന് പ്രോസസ്സ് നമ്മൾ വേസ്റ്റ് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകൾ. യു ആർ വിയറിങ് എ ഷർട്ട് ആൻഡ് പാൻറ്റ്. ഈ ഷർട്ടും പാൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ലൈഫ് സൈക്കിൾ എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാം? പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്കിൻ്റെ കാട്ടിൽ ഞാൻ കൂടുതൽ സ്ട്രഗിൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഇപ്പോൾ ടെക്സ്റ്റൈൽ വേസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടാണ്. ഇന്നലെ 5000 ടൺ ടെക്സ്റ്റൈൽ വേസ്റ്റ് വരും. ഒക്കെ പോളിസ്റ്റർ ഡോമിനൻ്റ് ആളുകൾ. പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഡിസൈൻ ബിസിനസ് ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകൾ. ഓക്കെ, ദിസ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് റീസൈക്ലബിൾ, ദിസ് സ്പെസിഫിക് പീസ്, റൈറ്റ്? ആൻഡ് സോ നമ്മൾ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എടുക്കുന്നതിന് എൻഡ് ഓഫ് ലൈഫ് നമ്മൾ ആലോചിക്കുന്നില്ല. സോ ദർ ഇസ് എ ബിസിനസ് ആംഗിൾ ടു ഇറ്റ്. ഒരു വാട്ടർ ബോട്ടിൽസിൽ 3 grades ഓഫ് പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്സ് ഉണ്ട്. സോ ദർ ആർ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ്. സോ ബിസിനസ് നമ്മൾ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്ക് ദർ ഇസ് എ റോൾ ടു പ്ലേ. ഒരു ഷർട്ട് ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ദിസ് ഈസ് എ ഡിസ്ട്രപ്റ്റർ, ദിസ് ഇസ് എ ഡിസ്ട്രപ്റ്റർ. ദർ ആർ മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ തിങ്സ്. ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് ദർ ഇസ് എ റോൾ. വേസ്റ്റ് ജനറേറ്റേഴ്സിൻ്റെ റോൾസ് ഉണ്ട്, ലോ എൻഫോഴ്സ്മെൻറ്റ് റോൾസ് ഉണ്ട്, ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഹാസ് ആൾസോ റോൾ. സോ ഞാൻ കളക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന വേസ്റ്റിൽ 80% റീസൈക്കിൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഗ്രേഡാണ് എനിക്ക് കളക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. നമ്മളെ ബിസ്ക്കറ്റ്സ് കവേഴ്സ്, സാധനങ്ങൾ, നാപ്കിൻ ആൻഡ് ഡയപ്പേഴ്സ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ വെരി സീരിയസ് ഇഷ്യൂ. 1 കിലോ നാപ്കിൻ ആൻഡ് ഡയപ്പേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ പ്രോസസ്സ് ചെയ്യണ 45 രൂപ വേണോ? ഈ സംബഡി ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു പേ ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്? സോ നമ്മൾ ബിസിനസ് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ സംബഡി ടോൾ മീ ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി സിമ്പിൾ. ബിസിനസ്സുകാരെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഒരാളെ പോക്കറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് മാർക്കറ്റിലേക്ക് എന്താണോ പൈസ വരുന്നത്, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ബിസിനസ്, റൈറ്റ്? ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെ ഫാമിലി, നിങ്ങൾ മാസം 10000 രൂപ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ ഹെൽത്ത് കെയറിന് സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, എഡ്യൂക്കേഷന് സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, എൻ്റർടൈൻമെൻറ്റിന് സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഫുഡിന് സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. വേസ്റ്റിന് 5 പൈസ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല ആരും. Okay, it's completely, government, various ways. We have an excuse to say tax and other stuff. അപ്പോൾ ഞാനൊക്കെ ഇനീഷ്യലി സ്ട്രഗിൾ ചെയ്ത ടെക്നോളജി അല്ല. ഹൂ ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ഫിനാൻസ് ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്? കേരളത്തിലെ വേസ്റ്റ് നാളെ മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള വി ഹാവ് എ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് പ്രപ്പോസൽസ്, ബട്ട് ഹൂ ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ഫിനാൻസ് ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്? വാട്ട് ഇസ് ദ കോസ്റ്റ്? So I mean, we just can't gain governments. There are multiple, as a business community, as a responsible citizen, as law enforcement people, we need to work together. But government is a very, a key stakeholder in these things.
When we travel abroad, we see dustbins every other kilometer or in 500 meters. But here we rarely see it, or even if we travel on a highway. So, from your level, can you do something? You told your plant is running almost below capacity. So, keeping dustbins and collecting this?
There are multiple reasons, നമ്മൾ ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ് വെച്ച് ആളുകൾ ചത്ത പൂച്ചന, ചത്ത എലീന, കുട്ടികളെ പാമ്പേഴ്സ് ഇൻക്ലൂഡിങ് ഇതെടുക്കും, ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്നും ക്ലീൻ ചെയ്യാതെ. സോ അങ്ങനെ ദർ ഇസ് ഓൺലി എ പബ്ലിക് സ്പേസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ്സ് ഹു ഓൺ ദ പബ്ലിക് സ്പേസ്. സർട്ടൻ സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്ന് ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ് വെച്ച് നാളെ ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻ തന്നെ കാണാനില്ല. ഓക്കെ, സെക്കൻഡ് സ്റ്റഫ്. തേർഡ് ആസ്പെക്ട്സ് എന്നുള്ളത് who is going to finance for me? That is a cost of collection, transportation and processing for me. എനിക്ക് നല്ല ഹൈ വാല്യൂ വേസ്റ്റ് അല്ല. ഹൈ വാല്യൂ വേസ്റ്റൊക്കെ നമ്മളെ വീട്ടിൽ എനിക്ക് ഒറ്റ ന്യൂസ് പേപ്പറും കിട്ടാറില്ല, ഒറ്റ കാർഡ്ബോർഡും കിട്ടാറില്ല, ഒറ്റ അലൂമിനിയത്തിൻ്റെ ക്യാനും കിട്ടാറില്ല. ഒരു വാഷിംഗ് മെഷീനോ റെഫ്രിജറേറ്ററോ ഇതൊന്നും നമുക്ക് തരാറില്ല. ആളുകൾക്ക് ഒന്നും അതൊക്കെ ആക്രിക്കടക്കാരെന്ത് ചെയ്യും, കൊണ്ടുപോകും. ദർ ഇസ് എ ഹൈ വാല്യൂ വേസ്റ്റ് ആൻഡ് ലോ വാല്യൂ വേസ്റ്റ്. ഐ ഗെറ്റ് ദ വേസ്റ്റ് വിച്ച് നോബഡി നീഡ്സ് ഇറ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, ഇവൻ എടുക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ തന്നെ എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ വാല്യൂ എന്നുള്ള സാധനങ്ങൾ എടുക്കാൻ അവർ എടുക്കൂ. നോബഡി ഗീവ്സ് ഐ മീൻസ് ദ ഹോൾ വി കോൾ ഹൈ വാല്യൂ വേസ്റ്റ് ഒക്കെ സ്ട്രീംസ് ആവും. അപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് പബ്ലിക് ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ് ഒന്ന് ഞാൻ ഐ ഹാവ് ഇവൻ ഗിവൺ എ പ്രപ്പോസൽസ്, ഞാൻ ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ് വെക്കാം. ഐ വിൽ ഗിവ് എൻ അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെൻറ്റ് ഓൺ ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ്, ഐ വിൽ മാനേജ് ഇറ്റ്. സോ ദ റവന്യൂ കം ഫ്രം അഡ്വർടൈസിങ്. ഈവൻ ഐ ഡിഡ്ന്റ് ഗെറ്റ് അപ്രൂവൽ ഫോർ ദിസ്. Okay, so we are just trying to innovate in various ways, and because it's a local body, there is a factor, so we need to work with the governments only, local body only. If you want to scale also, if you want a larger volumes that are very difficult, you do the collection, you build the sources and everything. We are working in different ways, but I think the governments see some recently the government. They are looking at these things. What you are talking about it. പക്ഷേ വേസ്റ്റ് ആരെയും ഒരു പ്രയോറിറ്റി അല്ല. ഇതിനെ ഈ ഈവെൻറ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് തോട്ടും പ്രോസസ്സും പീപ്പിൾസും മണി ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പോയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. വേസ്റ്റ് ഈവൻ നോട്ട് 1% ആളുകൾ എടുക്കുന്നത് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ഐ റിയലൈസ് ദിസ് കാലിക്കറ്റ് ബീച്ചിൽ സോ ദേ ഹാവ് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റഡ് അറൗണ്ട് 150 crores വെച്ചൊരു ബീച്ചിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്, 150 ഒരു യുണീക്കായിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റോളുകൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ലൈക്ക് സ്ട്രീറ്റ് വെൻഡേഴ്സിന് വേണ്ടി 150 ബിൻസ്. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഡേ ഓൺവേർഡ്സ് എന്താണ് മിനിസ്റ്റർ എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഫുൾ ബീച്ചിൽ ഫുൾ പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്കും വേസ്റ്റും ആളുകൾ സിവിക് സെൻസ് ആണ് പേപ്പർ അവിടെയൊക്കെ വലിച്ചെറിയുന്ന പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫുൾ അലമ്പ്. ഫുൾ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഡേ എന്താണ് ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ പബ്ലിക് ഇഷ്യൂ എന്ന്. ഞാൻ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്താ അവിടെ ഇവിടെ ഒരു ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻ വെച്ചെന്നല്ലാതെ ഒരു തിങ്കിങ്ങും ഒരു തോട്ടും ഒന്നും അതിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. ഞാൻ ഈവൻസിലെ വേസ്റ്റ് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാറുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ലാർജ് ഈവൻസിലെ വേസ്റ്റ്, വെഡ്ഡിങ്സിലെ വേസ്റ്റ്. സോ അത് ഡിസൈനിലും ഡ്യൂറിങ് ദ പ്രോസസ്സും നമ്മളൊരു സയൻസ് അതിലുണ്ട്. 1-2 ഡസ്റ്റ്ബിൻസ് അവിടെയും ഇവിടെയും വെച്ചാലൊന്നും എന്ത് ചെയ്യില്ല, നമ്മൾ ബിഹേവിയേഴ്സ് പിന്നെ ആളുകൾ ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ദാറ്റ് ഈസി. ആൻഡ് ഐ ഹാവ് സീൻ ഇൻ ഇന്ത്യ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് വർക്കിംഗ്. സോ നമ്മളതിന് ചിന്ത കൊടുക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ പ്രയോറിറ്റി അല്ല. നിങ്ങളെ വീട്ടിലെ വേസ്റ്റ് കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യാൻ നിങ്ങൾ ചേച്ചിയോ നിങ്ങളെ മെയ്ഡോ ആരെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യാന്നല്ലാതെ യു ഡോണ്ട് ഗിവ് എനിത്തിങ്, യു ഡോണ്ട് റിയലി കെയർ അബൌട്ട് ഇറ്റ്. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ഈവൻ ദ ഗവേണൻസ് ആൾസോ, റൈറ്റ്? ഗവേണൻസ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ക്രൈസിസ് വരുമ്പോൾ ആളുകൾ ഇടപെടാന്നല്ലാതെ ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ദ പ്രയോറിറ്റി സെക്ടർ. ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചത് നെഗറ്റീവ് പുറത്തുനിന്ന് കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇതിന് ടെക്നോളജി ഇല്ലാത്ത, നമ്മൾ യൂറോപ്പിൽ പഠിക്കാമോ, നമ്മൾ UK പഠിക്കാമോ, ഇറ്റ്സ് നത്തിങ്, ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൾ വെരി സിമ്പിൾ തിങ്സ് ആൻഡ് വി ഹാവ് പ്രൂവൺ ഇറ്റ്. നമ്മളൊരു എന്ന് പറയാം. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് എ പ്രയോറിറ്റി, നോട്ട് ഈവൻ ആസ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ, നോട്ട് ആസ് എൻ ലോക്കൽ ബോഡി, നോട്ട് ആസ് എ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ഗവൺമെൻറ്റ്സ്, നോട്ട് ഈവൻ എ ബിസിനസ്. We're designing a products which is completely shit, I mean in terms of end of the life. ഇതെവിടെയൊക്കെ പോകുന്നത് നോക്കാതെ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, നമ്മളെ എസ്തെറ്റിക്സും സ്റ്റൈലും ഷെൽഫ് ലൈഫൊക്കെ വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Nobody really is working on things. That's just somebody who works in the other streams of things, which is my...
Jabir, actually I didn't want to comment on it, but I just saw your dilemma. See, I'm come from Pune basically, I'm a Malayali. But in Pune, before Adar Poonawala started his vaccine, he started green vehicles all over Pune. Even I was shocked. How come Adar Pune suddenly comes with all these vehicles? After 5 years, he started the COVID vaccine. So, what about SDG and ESG in Kerala? In anything, are they taught in schools or have the government implemented it? I'm a non-residential Keralite, so I just wanted to know.
Sir, you'll have 2 minutes to answer that.
Yeah, I'll... Sir, I think as a state we are, personal cleanness we are really good. But Vyakti Shujitathil we are good. But Parisara Shujitathil we are not that good, and we have a long way to go. And comparing other states, we are better. Even in schools also, I think a lot of recent initiatives. We used to work with kids and all. I think comparatively are better. If you ask me, in outside the country, outside the state, I've seen it's not everywhere. Bits and pieces, there are a lot of good models. Maybe Pune is a decent place. Some part of Goa is a good place. Some part of Chhattisgarh is a good place. But the last 10 years, sanitation ranking, we have, at the state level, central governments, because I remember 10 kilometers to yatra, travel, ഇത് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ. ആൻഡ് ഇപ്പോഴും അവിടെ ഒരു 30% വേസ്റ്റ് മാത്രമേ ഐലൻഡിൽ പുറത്തേക്ക് പോകും. 3500 കിലോമീറ്റർ ഷിപ്പിൽ പോകണം. So nobody really bothered about stuff, so I mean just saying, we see changes. I'm optimistic as a country, as a country we are getting, നമ്മൾ അതിൽ പ്രോഗ്രസ് ഉണ്ട് ആസ് എ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്, ബട്ട് സ്ലോ ആണെന്ന് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. ബട്ട് ഐ സി ലാസ്റ്റ് 10 years there is a very huge progress.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinitha ma'am and Jabir sir, for sharing such transformative and purpose-driven journeys. Your insights on leadership, community impact and sustainability have truly enriched this session and inspired every one of us here. With that, we conclude this My Story segment. I request both of our distinguished speakers to kindly step from the stage. And now I invite Mr. N.S. Sharat, founder and CEO of Mussoorie Soft Tech, to come forward and hand over the mementos as a token of our gratitude.